Hole in my chair.
In the chair?
Yes.
Mm. What about carpets?
Oh, yeah.
Quite a few burns in carpets.
And lino floors, yeah, oh, yeah.
We also have rules here about smoking. No one's allowed to smoke inside.
Right.
And we have a lot of vulnerable people here.
Oh.
You know, if there was a fire on the unit. Are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah. No problem whatsoever.
Where the damage occurred in Martin was to various areas of the frontal lobes, which can often leave somebody seemingly quite unimpaired. But it's the control of his behaviour that's the issue.
Helen's road accident also damaged her brain's frontal lobes. As well as controlling behaviour, this part of the brain rules our organisation, emotions, and how we see ourselves. Among Helen's problems are self-obsession and lack of awareness.
Stop!
Can we just get the meat?
Yes, we can.
A bit of butter. You haven't?
I've washed it, yeah.
All right, OK, it wants to go in a bit of butter.
They're traits most adolescents grow out of, but Helen's brain injury has left her trapped as a teen.
Helen tends to monopolise a conversation, so she'll do all the talking and the other person does the listening. Because she's good at talking.
How long have I been talking?
She desperately missed her friend. She wanted somebody the same age she could talk to at the same age, the same level. And she wanted somebody to understand and take time out.
And that was difficult, because...
Yeah, who wants a friend?
People who are her age were often way ahead of her mentally, and...
They don't want to nursemaid. Who wants to nursemaid somebody, a teenager?
Didn't particularly like what she liked, you know. Didn't like Boyzone and...
That's right.
So, you know, they'd gone past that, you know.
But even though Helen can talk for England about herself, she's still struggling to make conversation with others. Part of her rehab is a work placement where she's meant to practice what she's learning.
Morning. Hiya. All right.
Hairdressers and small talk usually go hand in hand.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Helen has a captive audience, but the key test is, can she initiate a conversation that's not about herself?
With all the terrible fun, you know, the roads were just blocked with rain. Are you all right then?
Yeah, I'm fine, yes.
Good.
Thank you very much.
See ya!
To help Helen move on, her neuropsychologist, Andrew, has given her a set of rules on how to behave with others.
This checklist here, Andrew had typed up for me. People like to talk about themselves, not talk the conversation, not to take over the conversation, you know, not to talk too much about me. Ask questions, listen carefully. I can do that, you know, kind of, really, you know, not like that. Oh yeah, really, you know, kind of thing. And that's important. I mean, I carry it around with me all the time.
And does it help you to have it there as a checklist?
Yes, I kind of keep noting, you know, whenever I'm talking to you know, what are you looking at down there? Nothing, you know, just thought I'm walking with Jazz, you know how it is.
Good laugh, aren't you?
Helen's been working on her conversation skills for a couple of months, but Andrew's still worried about her vulnerability. His priority is to teach her to talk to others without revealing too much about herself.
She has a bit of a laundry list, I'm afraid, of scenarios in which she'd got herself into hot water. Not through any intent of her own, really just her perhaps naivety. And ultimately that led to Helen being exploited, and a number of situations where, you know, her lovely nature had been really taken advantage of, and Helen really just didn't see that coming.
Andrew's spotted what he thinks is a key to Helen's communication problems. She doesn't ask people questions. so he's given her drinks coasters, a physical token to help her remember to pass the conversation back to her partner.
To be honest, I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
How about you?
I've just been chilling out inside. I can't sit too much of the heat, unfortunately.
Do you not like the heat, really?
I can do with this, but if it gets too warm and stuff, I get dizzy, unfortunately. Do you ever?
I don't. Not really get dizzy. Not
No.
unless it gets extra specially hot.
Yeah. Have you ever been? Have you been anywhere abroad or anything? Yourself?
I've just come back off holiday. Thank you. I went to America. It was really nice.
So what, did you see any kangaroos?
Pardon?
Kangaroos.
Oh, I don't know if they have that many kangaroos in America. I think that's more Australia, isn't it? Where Andrew's from.
That's it, yeah. I knew it was an air place.
Through persistence and repetition, showing Helen how she comes across, Andrew is making progress with her.
Oh, we're good, I think.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good, yeah. It looked like you were getting perhaps a little bogged down there.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what to say, but you came across just quite a good turn. What do you think? What have you done?
Yeah.
Okay, well done.
The rehabilitation team's approach is structured and sets clear boundaries, parent and child parameters that the damaged brain can learn within.
I don't see this as a residential home. I see this as a training centre where you're coming to relearn those skills, to retrain that brain. I mean, in an ideal world, if we could leave the brain at the door and then come and pick it up, that's what we'd need to do. The model that we follow encompasses your working life, your social life, your family life, and your own independence. You know, we can't forget that people want to be independent.
So we're on the half hours,
Well, if you say so.
Martin's problem is aggression. His flashpoint, cigarettes.
It's called poetic licence, this.
He's allowed 1 cigarette an hour. And because he's a fire risk, forbidden to keep tobacco, tab ends or a lighter with him. Staff want to see if he can work within these rules. If he loses his temper, he won't earn his telly.
V is a verbal aggression. So like a V1 is the shouting and swearing, just not actually at anybody, but just, just shouting or swearing. So they just get a V1 for that. But if they actually shout and swear at somebody, well then it's classed as a V2. And a V3 is if it's verbal and they've got like aggression as well, so that, they get really angry. Martin's actually got a couple of V2s. He began angrily raising both his fists at me, his face becoming red and his neck on his veins protruding. He shouted, "Stupid bitch, die you bitch."
This is not a secure unit and we do not do anything like control and restraint. We restrain behaviours by words. That's what we do. We change behaviour by words, and the staff are taught to do that.
Well, they treat you like children here, you see. Well, at 62 years old, you don't expect to be treated like a child. They say, you can't take your coffee into the television room and things like that. You've got to drink it in there. And you can't have your telly because you've been a naughty boy, which, quite frankly, is sickening.
Do you want to empty your pockets for me, Martin, on the bed?
Certainly.
A former policeman, Martin is now being policed, with daily room searches and frisking.
That's it.
OK, have you got anything in your shirt pocket?
No.
You sure?
Positive?
Just pull it open for me.
Oh.
You've got a few cigarette butts there, Martin, haven't you? Let's have a look and see how many there are in there. OK, there's quite a few there, isn't there, Martin?
Yes, dear.
OK, I'm just going to have a quick check of your drawers. Right, OK, so we're not going to be able to get the television tonight, Martin, are we?
Of course not. I'd already lost it, hadn't I?
You had, yeah.
I'm not allowed to keep cigarette ends. It's something I've always done because I roll others up from them, you see. But no, it's not allowed at the Daniel Yorrell Centre. You've got to do what they tell you you've got to do. There's no ifs or buts about it, is there? They treat you like bloody kids. The pathetic. Come on, then. Get on with it! You play your shot, Pillock! You really are pathetic. What did I see what I have to put up with?
There's 14 cigarette butts that I counted from his pocket. I don't think he's got the capability of the control of when he sees the cigarette butts outside. He perhaps knows that he shouldn't be doing that, but he still does pick them up. And if you notice when I was in his room, he was quite fine about me looking through his pockets, but I could see from his shirt pocket that there was something in there, and he wouldn't, so I knew then that there definitely would be cigarette butts. Brain Injury Rehabilitation Trust, Annie, you're off house cat.
By shouting and gesticulating and using his large presence, physical presence, at times he can get what he wants. So he's got to unlearn that. He almost has to learn that that doesn't get what he wants, and that we really have to shape some more appropriate behaviours.
Andrew's other charge, Helen, is also causing problems. Halfway through her treatment, she can't control her tweeny obsession with texting. She's stalking people with up to 40 messages a day, and it's got to stop. Andrew's approach is one of tough love. It's clear and direct.
If somebody is behaving in a socially inappropriate way, most of the time people just kind of allow them, particularly if they know that the person's had a brain injury or it's obvious to them that the person has a disability, they'll give them certain allowances. And the person never really gets the feedback that that behaviour isn't socially appropriate.
It's right now stuff I've got to see Andrew.
Helen's bombarding everyone she knows with dozens of daily texts. And one of her friends, a fellow client, has had enough. It's a minor irritation that plays to a bigger issue. Helen still isn't reading signals from others.
If we think about people that aren't picking up the subtleties, the nuances in everyday social interaction, the feedback needs to be very clear. Sit them down, stop all conversation, stop all distraction, and explain what was going on with that particular behaviour. Hi, Helen.
Hiya.
Come on in.
You're right.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, yeah.
Sharon has been quite frustrated with a number of things, I guess, but certainly one of them has been the sheer number of text messages that you've been sending her. Has she mentioned that to you?
No.
No. And it certainly reported to me that the other day you'd sent her 30 text messages in one day.
Did I? I think I did that.
30 text messages, yeah. How do you think somebody would react if somebody sent them 30 text messages in one day?
I don't know, it's kind of, what do you want me to do? You know, I guess we're just kind of telling because I want to talk to her. If she's not here to talk to. And
the issue is about you, and it's not a nice word to use, but pestering Sharon over the last couple of days. Mm-hmm. The fact that somebody is finding your behaviour very annoying, how does that make you feel? Does that upset you?
It's just, you know, a close friend. I don't want to annoy anyone. I don't want to put anybody off me.
Of course, nobody wants to annoy anybody. Yeah, you're right. Does it upset you to think that somebody that you want to have as a friend is finding your behaviour annoying?
It's upsetting, but what can you do, you know? To accept it and move on.
Yeah, although that's not something that's been easy for you.
No.
Helen, like perhaps 99% of us, have a desire to be liked by others, and perhaps she'd just been pursuing this a little too earnestly in her own way that she does sometimes. So Helen really needed to be confronted with this and to explain some of the complexities of this situation.
I'm terrible for texting, I know it. You know, I know how bad I am. I can't always put my finger on what's wrong with me or what my problem is and stuff, and it's really just think, why is this happening?
Martin's only been at the unit for a couple of weeks, but the cigarette rule is already testing him. He's been aggressive and abusive to a woman in the office. The tail end of his outburst caught on camera.
You can't have a cigarette. Treat you like bloody kids, don't they? I hate them.
Martin, it's not about... Listen. It's not about that. Don't do that, yeah? I will not have you putting your hands up like that. It's not acceptable. Okay. Come back at 12.
Andrew wants to confront him with his behaviour.
Treat you like bloody kids, don't they? You can't have a cigarette because it's not 12 yet.
See what I mean? You said have a coffee, Martin. I hate them. Well, they're not that bad. They feed you well. Sorry.
How do you think you came across to everybody?
Violent and abusive.
Really?
Oh, yes, which is totally alien to the way I am normally.
Mm-hmm. When you say normally, what do you mean?
Well, you couldn't find a more peace-loving, rational man than me.
So why do you think you behaved in those ways?
My brain injury.
Okay.
Makes me behave irrationally.
Does it?
Totally.
What would have happened if you were working as a copper and a big bloke had threatened a woman, raised fists? What would have happened to that person?
He would have been arrested.
Okay.
For breach of the peace.
Right, and what would that have meant?
Section 5 Public Order Act. Anything up to 6 months imprisonment and £2,000 fine.
So how does it make you feel about you?
Ashamed.
Is there anything you'd like to do about that?
Yes. That's why I've come here.
Okay. What would you like to do about it, Martin?
I'd like to have it taken out of me.
Martin appears to be demonstrating awareness of his problem and showing a desire to work with Andrew. It's why he was accepted for assessment in the first place. But he's got 15 years of bad brain behaviour to break.
Just because he can say what needs to be done, his brain injury is preventing him from turning that into action. What we'll be trying to do with Martin over the next 8 weeks or so is trying a variety of techniques, essentially to see what works. We could try some time out on the spot straight away, removing any social attention from the behaviour, making sure that he doesn't get what he wanted. But there's a lot of old habits to try and break here. I think the question will come is if we get to 10 weeks and we haven't made any progress. Do we say that Martin's had long enough to suggest that he's not going to benefit from the program? Obviously, if we start to see some progress, great, he could be here for another 3 or 6 months. But the difficulty will come if there's no progress by the end of 10 weeks.
Should tell you a story.
Helen's been at the unit for 5 months and has made progress. The hope is that one day she'll live independently and earn her own living. And the Trust is trying to equip her for that with real-life situations.
Helen, in a socially demanding situation, needs to use her frontal lobe constantly. And she's processing all these lines of information and communication that we all take fairly automatically. And Helen is really fighting hard to try and keep up.
Hi, Gracie.
Helen's big ambition is to work with children. It's the one place where her brain doesn't have to work hard to keep up.
Relating to much more simple social cues